This is the Artist Entrepreneur Podcast. We are your hosts, Amanda Ritchie, Noah Dach, and me, Kerry. We're three artists brought together by the love of circus and dance. Amanda from the world of Cirque du Soleil as an aerial soloist, Noah, our academic, and me from the commercial dance world. This is one of the greatest jobs in the world, but it comes with uncertainty. Each episode contains insight on how to pursue art-based businesses. We'll have a variety of guests and have lively weekly Discord. Tune in every week to hear our perspectives on the minefield that is the artist's way of life. So you've grown out the stuff around the stash.
Actually, I've shaved the stash, shaved again, and then now have grown out a beard again.
You have, your hair is very, very talented. Like,
it is.
You're probably not going to go bald.
It's very fast working.
You look like you're in a hotel.
I am. I'm in Vegas.
Oh, what brings you to Vegas, man of mystery?
Every year, my best friend's mom does a conference here for the two companies that she runs.
Okay.
And so I do close-up strolling magic at the private events that they do.
Oh my God, I'm so intrigued. Okay, we're waiting on Amanda, listeners. So is this something that you have to practice if you have a gig coming up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you started doing this when you were how old?
11.
11. And since then, have you added to your arsenal of tricks? Are you doing the stuff that you're doing when you're 11? Like, how much do you have to practice? I'm so intrigued.
That's a really good question. Okay, let's see. I started magic when I was about 11, maybe a little earlier. I could have been 9 or 10. And I was obsessed. I wanted to be a professional magician for so long. And I still do. I mean, who doesn't want to be a magician? I mean, I still love magic. And for a while, I was the youngest member of the Magic Castle.
Oh.
I joined as a junior member. I was 13 years old.
Holy moly.
And for a little while, I was the youngest member, but I was beaten by some kid who auditioned on his birthday when he turned 13 because 13 was the cutoff. But yeah, I performed for a very long time. It's something that has just always been in my back pocket, or up my sleeve, I guess, for
no pun intended,
for lack of a better term. No pun intended. And my friend's mom have always asked me to do this, and it's a ton of fun. I always love to perform. Every year I bring new tricks. When I was younger and really was seriously doing magic, I was always every day I would learn new tricks. It was just it was part of it was like taking dance classes. It was when you're a dancer, you take 3 dance classes a day, 5 dance classes a day. As a magician, you just learn 5 new tricks a day, and you practice your skills and hone your technique. And my whole thing was I love cards, and I never wanted anything fake. I wanted it all to be skill. So everything I did was always sleight of hand and very technique based. And I love magic, and I've been doing this at this event for 4 years. I want to say.
Is that your one gig a year that keeps your toe in the water? Or do you have more than that?
Kind of. Ironically, because of this event, I've gotten other gigs.
Okay, yeah.
I've met people at these events. They've been give us your number, and I'll do other private events. I still do magic in other places. I used magic a lot in circus, and I've used it in choreography and in creating circus pieces. And we did one of my first shows ever for circus was we did a like floating suitcase illusion.
Oh.
And we used like the thumb tip lights and did like all sorts of things like with that kind of magic. We used a sword box where, we had somebody go into a box and we stabbed them with a bunch of swords and they were completely fine. We did that in one of our shows. I've used magic a lot throughout my time because it's really, to me, it's a technique. It's a skill set. It's a technical piece of knowledge that can be used however you want and need. And I think most magicians would agree to a certain extent that once you understand the technique, you can figure out anything is done and how to do anything. And so if you have an idea for something magical, it doesn't necessarily need to be like a trick or whatever, like something magical, you have the training to technically figure out how to do it.
You are seriously a Pandora's box. I feel like as we do this podcast, we're just going to like dive more and more into each other. And I'm like I've known you for a while, and that was a new story for me. I'm so excited to hear more.
Magic is one that I keep pretty close to the vest. I don't really tell people that I do or have done magic.
Well, now no longer.
Yeah, I guess so.
Noah, you are in a venture right now that has been a little while. How long have you been working on this, developing this app?
Red Flag started development about a year and a half ago. The idea has been around for like 3 years. We thought of the idea about 3 years, but we started actually building the app in February of 2023 is when we started like designing it and building it. And then we started actually like putting in code and building the physical app in, I think it was August of last year.
What made you say to yourself, I should do this? What gave you the confidence? Because it is a pivot, right? Is it a pivot?
It's a huge pivot. I mean, I'm not a tech person. In fact, when I first met with the development company that I'm working with, I got on a call with them and I was just like, listen, I'm not a tech person. I don't know code. I don't know how to write an app. I'm not a technical person in this field. I'm a guy with an idea. That was my line. I'm a guy with an idea and I need help to make that idea become a reality. How did I get to it? And how did I have the confidence to do it? I'm going to have two answers to that. The first answer is my mom. That's my first answer. I told her about the idea about 3 years ago when I came up with it, and she loved it. My mother thought it was like more than just like our moms, love everything that we do because they're our moms. And at the end of 2022, I was working, I was doing social media management, I was doing photography. I had a lot of work that was going on. And my mom was just like, what are you doing? Why aren't you building this app? Like, you should be doing this. And I was so nervous about it because it's a lot of money, because it's a lot of time, it's a big venture. For lack of a better term, it's a big commitment. And my mom was just like, do it. You have to do this. It'll be so good for you. It'll be so good for other people. Like, you have to do it. And she really like gave me that extra little push to finally make those phone calls to build the app. My second piece of it is the confidence, I think, came from, my own experience. I think that the best products, the best apps, the best things out there in the world are the things that actually help people. and the things that the creators actually use and the things that the creators actually have either negative or positive experiences with. My experience with dating apps was not good. I didn't see them work. I've seen them not work for my friends. I've seen an overarching feeling of frustration when it comes to dating apps for people my age and for people in general. And I think that as somebody who wants to help people, the ability to help people find something that I would say is at the top of most people's priority list would be something that I could feel really good about and feel a real connection to. Because to be able to help people to do that, I think that says a lot, and that opportunity would be very rewarding. And so I wanted to help not only myself, but everybody else to find love, to find partners, to find joy in actually dating, because I think dating should be fun. I think that meeting people should be fun, and we should enjoy this, and it shouldn't be a monotonous, tedious app experience that we do, on our phones before we go to bed, or lying on the couch in our living room. Like, dating should be fun. Meeting people should be fun. This shouldn't be an experience that we dread. And I think that the opportunity to create that experience made me really excited and makes me really excited, and is why I wanted to do it. I want to help people to be able to have this.
Amanda, welcome.
Amanda.
Here I am. Fill me in.
Okay, well, I just thought I'd jump in and start interviewing Noah about his business and just get it in the can. Some of it, yeah, she's a princess for you guys. She didn't do it for me.
I love it.
I want to scare you guys so I could shock your life.
Shock your life.
Totally shocked my life.
I have to say, I miss you guys. I feel like...
Yeah, it's been a few weeks.
Yes, okay.
We were on a roll, and then it just stopped abruptly.
No, we didn't need to work so hard, so we didn't, but...
Laura, I feel sleepy. Let me go to bed.
She says I feel sleepy because I'm Sleeping Beauty.
Let me go to bed.
She's so on brand. She's going to get into her bunk bed with her whole outfit and take a nap. Apparently.
I love that.
So,
I love it.
So we're right. Just roll with it and jump in and ask questions. But Noah, did you have to secure funding to start developing this? And if so, how did you do it?
Yes, I did have to secure funding. I started with a family and friends raise, basically, raising some money to actually build the app and get it started. So like pre-seed funding, family and friends, people that are, close to me. That the line recently that I've really liked is my hot market, people that I know already. And now we're going into a second round of funding, and that is to raise money for our go-to-market. And that we're looking into, investors, VCs, angels, tech people in the tech world. I'd really love to find some people who already have some successful businesses or companies that want to implement this sort of thing into their world, who have the experience of taking something like this to market already. I think that money is a powerful tool. It can get you very far. And for us, it has allowed me to build the physical app and to get, all of our legal things off the ground and take care of, the details in that. But in order to really be successful, I think you need to have a strong team. You need to have knowledgeable people who know what to do, how to do it, and have experience working with this kind of thing. And so that to me is sometimes even more important than money. Like, I would love to have investors who, have successful podcasts, or who have successful apps, or who work in entertainment, or who work in the dating world, who can use their other knowledge as well as their financial input to help red flags grow.
How did you source out your team?
I wanted to find a development team that I could actually physically connect with, and who I would be able to talk with the whole team. I went through discussions with a lot of different people. A lot of them we have, one person who works in the States, and then everybody else is located in maybe the Philippines or in India, or they're scattered throughout the world. And I wasn't as interested in doing that sort of work where, like, I would just say, hey, this is what I want, and then 2 weeks later they'd send me something. I really wanted to be, especially in the beginning phases, I really wanted to be more hands-on. And so the team I found was local. They are in the Los Angeles area. And I would go into their office once a week, and we would like sit down at a conference table with a whiteboard and like talk through things, and they would show me designs, and like it was really hands-on for that design phase. Now that we are in development, it's a little more removed in that there are people kind of all over who are building it and developing the app. And I think that'll change over time, as we have more of that solid product, to be able to have one person who's overseeing others, and this remote work world that we live in now that allows us to have team members who are all over.
That's really cool. What was that like negotiation process and the contract process in the beginning to start? Because it you know what I mean?
Yeah. They're contractors, so it's not an equity thing. They are strictly, this is our price, this is what it costs to build it, and that's how we'll do it. Because it's a lot of money, it's not necessarily an upfront cost. You pay it over a 12-month period, which is what we ended up doing. And then they had different things, like if we finish it in a certain amount of time, we'll offer like some coverages for another few months of like, if there's more bugs to fix or things like that, or there were different parameters in that way, but we haven't reached that point yet. So, but yeah, it was fairly simple.
So honestly, I'm thinking to myself, if I were in your shoes, I mean, that learning curve must have been insane.
I am still learning. I still feel like I know nothing. Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a really, really good example of have the right team to be able to help you with the things that you do not know. I'm not a technical person. I do not know all of the ins and outs of writing code and building an app and all of these things. I have an idea, I have a concept, I have marketing knowledge, I have the understanding of what I want the app to do. But everything else needed to be explained. And I'm still having it be explained. Like, what programs are we writing this code through? What apps are we connected to in order for people to message one another? I think one of the most interesting things for me was that all of these apps use other apps to succeed and to operate. So like any app that you're messaging people through uses something else to use that messenger. Any app that you're paying a subscription for, the subscription that you're signing up for is done through a different app. And all of your data, all of the photos, anything that you're uploading into it is stored somewhere else. And like, it's all of these different platforms that get stacked on top of one another to make one app operate the way that it should. And you pay subscriptions on those, and that's a whole other business. And that was really interesting to learn about, for sure. That it wasn't like, oh, we're going to design a messenger from scratch, or you're going to be able to subscribe through our app. Like, no, you actually subscribe through Apple, and it just loads on your app, and it's a function that's connected to it. And that was really interesting to learn about. I'm still, learning about how we're writing code, and I'm still bringing on more people. I'm moving into figuring out what's going to happen after this development company. And so finding a chief technical officer and working with them to oversee the next steps of it, because they can hand me all of this code and they can hand me all of these things, and I'll go, great. I don't know necessarily what to do with it in my hands. I need somebody who knows how to operate the machinery. And that's what I've been looking into now, meeting with people who could be my CTO and taking it from the dev company and moving it forward.
Kind of the same as a confidence, but like you have like a master's in dance and choreography. You spent your life in like a proscenium stage. Like, do you have the skill set you need to do this? Is there a simple answer?
Yes.
Because obviously you're capable.
My simple answer is yes. It's ironic that I'm here in Vegas, and Amanda, you weren't here earlier when Kerry was like, why are you in Vegas? I'm in Vegas because every year I do close-up magic at this conference that my friend's mom puts on. And so I do close-up magic at the events. And I've done magic since I was 11 years old. And my simple answer is yes, I have the skill sets to do this because of all of the other things that I have done. And because I don't believe that learning one thing limits you to everything else. I don't think because you're a dancer or because you're a magician or because you're a musician, that's the only thing you know. I think that in order to be successful, and I'm sure I know you'll agree with this, Amanda, you have to be multifaceted at whatever that thing is. If you are a dancer, you need to learn how to be good in auditions. You need to learn how to market yourself. You probably eventually will need to learn how to teach. You need to learn how to perform all various techniques. There's a lot of different facets to it that is not just, I'm a good dancer or I can dance. And the irony is that when it came to circus and my circus background, magic was something that I had sort of, put on the back burner. But as I went into circus, I was like, oh, wow, I can use magic here and I can use magic here and I can use magic here. And here was the skill set that I had that I never thought I would be using, but became incredibly useful and beneficial in almost everything that I was doing. Magic taught me how to essentially be a people person and how to talk to people, and how to engage with people based on nothing. The confidence it takes or the nerves to get over being able to walk up to a random group of people with a deck of cards and ask them if they want to see a magic trick. That's really hard to do. It's a skill set to be able to do that. And I use that in going out and meeting investors and going to networking events and talking to people. And the skill sets that I've acquired by being a choreographer, by being a director, by working in marketing, all of those things, that's leadership. That's yes, my technical skill set of building an app is not as strong, but my ability to review a product and to understand why something works and why something doesn't work, to understand the feedback process, that all comes from my artistic background. That all comes from my creative background. And even what I was just talking about, where like I knew that I needed to reach out to a development company to build the app. I wasn't going to spend the next 10 years learning how to code so that I could build the app myself. That wasn't how this was going to work. I knew that I needed to find other people who could help me do it. And when you listen to like really successful entrepreneurs, almost all of them will say something along the lines of, be good at what you're good at, but find other people who are good at what they're good at and utilize their skill sets to help you to further this project. And I think theater is an excellent example of that, because like you can't be the lighting designer, costume designer, choreographer, director, writer, you can't do everything all the time. It's just not feasible. It's not possible. It just doesn't work that way. You have to find other people who are good at that. And so as a director and as a creator, I was really, really involved and really a proponent of find your lighting designer, find your scenic designer, find your team that you can manage and work with to create the best result. And that's, I think, where my skill set is probably at its best, which is finding my team, and what I like to do best. I think that I'm a good manager. I think that I'm a good leader, and I think that using that skill set of knowing what I'm not good at and what I can't do, to find the people who are and who can, to be able to unite them into one singular, vision or product. That's where my skills, I think, shine the most. And I learned that by being a choreographer, by being a director, by being a magician, and all of these skills that have stacked on top of each other to eventually bring us to Red Flags dating app and every other, business that I run and do and create and build and all of that.
I like it. I think that, but having all of those, the managerial, the leadership, and all of that in and of itself, you kind of have your hands in many different pots, like you said, from the creative side, from the magic, from performing, from directing, and all of that. But having like knowledge, a little bit of knowledge in a lot of things, I can imagine will help you find the people who are really good at those things.
I think the willingness to learn about it as well, I think there's plenty of people out there who are not willing to learn. Like they need something done, they hire somebody else, they move on with their lives. As entrepreneurs, if you want something done right, do it yourself. But also, like, if you want something done, you probably don't have the resources to get somebody else to do it. So you're going to have to do it yourself. And that's how I got involved in marketing. Like, I didn't have anybody to do graphic design for me. I didn't have anybody to do video editing for me or photography for me, or, writing marketing materials I didn't have any of them. So I wasn't going to let the show just run without anybody showing up and with the audience being empty. I was going to make sure that we sold out. And so I was going to do that stuff. And yes, I got very lucky in that I got to work with people and be surrounded by people who I could ask those questions. I could say how many posters should I print? Does this look good? Do you think that this sends the right message? Are we, pricing this properly? And to ask those questions to people who really knew, and then to be able to take that and use that knowledge. I think that is something every entrepreneur needs to do. at some point. Like you're going to have to do it all yourself at some point. And being willing and able to learn even the bare minimum of whatever it is to be able to grow that skill set or to be able to make sure that it works is so important.
Tell us if there's a curveball in this process or if there's something so unexpected that you just did not see coming at you that you had to like put out the fire while you've been doing this app.
Literally right now. I'm midst curveball. So the app was supposed to be finished earlier this year, and it's taken a lot longer than I would have liked for the app to be finished. And so we've definitely had some ups and downs with the development company that I've worked with, in that they had some internal changes happen that, you know, are pretty much out of my control. This is a contractor that I've hired, and they have things going on within their own company. And so it's taken longer, and we've had different people step in and different people step out of roles to build the app. And that's one of the reasons why I've sort of looked into finding a CTO sooner than I necessarily was going to, because I want to move on. I want to get on with it, and I want to take it away from the dev company that I've been working with, and to have a CTO that's just overseeing everything as opposed to working with a contractor. Yeah, the last few months have been really slow with building the app. And it's been incredibly frustrating. And it's hard when you don't have the skill sets and aren't able to just be like, okay, just give me it. I'll just take it. I'll just do it myself. And so finding ways of sort of doing that, I've met with other people. I've had the conversation of like, okay, like if this isn't going to happen, we're going to do something else. And that's okay. That's part of the game. And so, yeah, that's been a real curveball of like, okay, it's not done. Why is it not done? How are we going to change this? Listen, we've paid this contractor to do the thing. The job might not get done with them. Okay. How do we pivot? What do we need to do differently? How are we going to change this? And so I'm in the midst of that now. Like, what are we going to do instead of this? What are we going to do to remedy this? And we'll see. I'm in the midst of it.
I guess like mental health and how to navigate and push forward and persevere. Because if I can, and I've been through this myself, where like you just take not necessarily hit after hit, but frustration after frustration after frustration. At what point are you just like, I just need a minute, like step away for just like a minute and then come back? If that is a thing for you, or if you just like plow right through.
I don't think I ever like, I don't know, maybe that's a lie. I was going to say, maybe I feel like I don't ever like fully detach, because I just don't know how I would do that. There's just too much to do. I think I have had moments of like, I'm going to slow it down a little bit, or I'm going to focus on something else for a couple days, because I have so many different projects and so many different interests that sometimes can be easier in that, like, okay, great. Like, red flags is driving me a little nuts today. I'm going to do some social media management and do some photography work and like focus over here. It's not that I can completely forget about that, but it's not going to be all I'm thinking about all day because I need to go do this other thing. I think that I'm in a place with red flags where so much of it does feel out of my control, that it is somebody else's job in that they're building the app, that I just have to wait for them to finish it. And so the things that I can focus on, like finding investors or doing commercials, shooting social media content, etc., like I have control over that. That's what I'm going to do. And that is productive to the whole of Red Flags without necessarily just like letting it go, if that makes sense. And yeah, I don't think I ever just like completely let go and, go away. I just don't think that's feasible. But I might like slow down for a minute. A few weeks ago, I definitely had one of those, like, it just like kept stacking up. Things kept like not working out the way that they should have worked out. And I was just like, okay, I need to solve one problem at a time. And let's just solve this one piece. And I did, and I took a beat, and then I moved on to the next one.
Okay, so if somebody out there, artists like us, creative, and wants to develop an app, would you suggest it? Number one, is it a good venture? And number two, how much do these things cost ish?
Do I recommend it? I mean, yes, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what their app is. It's a competitive world for sure. I think it takes, I think the whole tech world and I would say there's a lot of people in the tech world who are in the business of businesses. They are building businesses to sell businesses to build another business to sell that business. And not necessarily in saying that that's a bad thing. It's just not my thing. If I'm going to be totally honest, like, yes, I want to build this business to eventually sell this business. But my goal is not to just put this on repeat. My goal is to make the best possible product that I can to help the people who need it. That is my goal. It's not necessarily about, moving from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. It's about how can we make the best thing for my consumer. And I think that is a really important question to ask before getting into this world. What are you making and why are you making it? So far, I did a pitch a few months ago and I was going through it and somebody in the audience they said, why? Like, why are you doing this? And I explained it. I said, I think that we're in a world where we have a lot of superficial images of ourselves out there. We have Instagram, we have social media, we have Facebook, we have all of these places that we're putting the best version of ourselves out there. And sometimes we're not the best version of ourselves. That's the reality of it. And I think that everybody deserves to find love. They deserve to find a partner. They deserve the opportunity to have a real life relationship and to be able to pull themselves out of this, I'm going to say, like, fake or curated versions of themselves that they have online, and to be real and to have real life moments and real life relationships. And I think that there should be a dating app that helps them to do that. And they should have the opportunity to do so. And when I said that, it was interesting. I felt like there was like an exhale in the room. And I think some people were like, we've never heard like that much of an honest, response in a pitch. And I think that that's both heartwarming and sort of difficult. Like, there's a lot of this entrepreneurial world, tech world, building a business world that sometimes can feel superficial and feel like you want to put the best version of yourself forward. And being honest is not always the best way to do that. And my firm belief is I'm building a dating app called Red Flag. Like, if I'm not going to be honest and upfront and real with building the app, like, what's the point? I'm not holding true to what I believe the principles of this app should be, and how we should be in dating and all of that. And I know I just got very sidetracked. My advice, if you want to build an app, do it. I would say, ask tons of people about it. Ask anybody you know who has any sort of knowledge about tech world, about apps, about connecting with people. There's so many people that I wish I talked to at the beginning before I started that I met later. And you never know. Like, I have some close family friends. I had no idea one of them is like an app developer until like a couple weeks ago when we were at a wedding together. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And just like, put it out there, reach out to people, put out your feelers to see who has knowledge about this, who can you ask about it. I don't want to say don't do it, because I think that's what everybody will say. And I think that's what everybody said to me to a certain extent. They were like, it's really hard. It's going to cost a lot of money. Don't do it. But, you know, it could be incredibly rewarding. It could be incredibly successful. You don't know yet. I don't know yet. But if it's something that you believe in, if it's something that you want to offer people something that they don't have access to, or they don't have the ability to get now, then I think you have something viable, and that you should give it a shot. And there are going to be parts of it that you don't like, and there are going to be parts of it that you really like. But that's the same with any business, the same with anything. How much does it cost? Depends on your app. It's not cheap. I can tell you it's not cheap. If you Google how much does it cost to build a dating app, it usually, or not even a dating app, how much does it cost to build an app? I think it's like anywhere from like $100,000 to $500,000 is what Google says. And that I don't exactly know what Google factors into that, like whether it's just the developers, whether it's marketing, whether it, I don't know what exactly Google factors in, but I'd say that $100,000 to $500,000 is fairly accurate. There's a lot of different levels to it. There's mobile app, there's web app, there's programs that you build. There's all sorts of things. And while it's a hard thing to hear, like it's good to start small. It's good to like really see like what you can do with nothing. Like I'm trying to do things with nothing now, even though we're a lot further along. Like doing events for Red Flags, and like holding a dating event or making a Facebook group that gets people together to do like a red flag speed dating thing and stuff like that. Like, those are things that if you think about what you want to do, you can do that without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to build an app right away. Like, I don't know. An example I would give is like all of these run clubs. Like, some of these run clubs that exist in like New York and Los Angeles and stuff like that, like some of them just came to be because of a Facebook group. Like, they didn't need to build an app for the run club. They just got a bunch of people on Facebook to chat in a group and decide that we all wanted to go running, and if you can harness your community before you necessarily need to build and start spending money, it's going to be really, really, really beneficial and really helpful. A lot of people do the opposite. I've done the opposite to a certain extent. But that's because I knew that I had a market already. There is a dating app market. But yeah, like some of these run clubs that started on Facebook groups and now have built apps, that's they started one way, they've ended up another way. It's just part of the game.
Yeah, I feel like that piece of advice can go over so many different types of businesses. Like build a clientele before you like go get a brick and mortar somewhere. I feel like that happens to a lot of studio owners.
Yeah.
Or you're a Pilates studio and you invest in like $100,000 worth of Pilates equipment and you don't have any clients yet. Like that is so stressful.
It's so stressful. And what's funny? Like I know we've been talking about red flags, but a thing that I love cocktails. I love the cocktail world. I worked in the restaurant industry for a while. And I love mixology. I love that stuff. And I like one of my like dreams one day when I sell red flags and I'm just working on things that I want to do. I would love to own a bar. And one of the things that I'm doing is I just moved into a new house. I bought myself, some cocktail equipment and I want to do cocktail nights at my house. Like that's it. I just want to have cocktail nights at my house. And write recipes and create things and have people over. And that's it. Yeah, one day I'd love to have a bar and own a restaurant, whatever. But like, I'm not trying to lease a space right now. I'm not trying to buy a bunch of, equipment and build this thing. No, I'll just have some people over and drink some cocktails at the house. Like, it can be very simple. And I think that, like, I was inspired by a bunch of these Instagram and social media influencers who have like done dinners and like different things at their house. They're like chefs and they host people at their house and they just like cook dinner. Like it's super simple. They didn't need to build a brick and mortar. They didn't need to spend a ton of money. They're just cooking dinner at their house and people want to go and they want to do that with them. And yes, across so many businesses, you can start small. You can start, with just a passion for something that you enjoy and see where it goes.
I feel like that is the crux of the businesses. Like if you're an entrepreneur, like you cannot have a business without the people. You have to have the audience. You have to have the consumer. You have to have, like, that is the most important thing, regardless of what the business is.
But also to have the reach. Well, also to have the reach to get those people, to get like, who do you invite for dinner at your house? And like, do those people bring people? And like you're not selling things, but the marketing of it and like the putting yourself out there, like those steps to get yourself to have a broader reach. Because when you're building something and you're starting off small, it's like essentially word of mouth. And that process can take time. Like it can take years. So putting yourself up on those platforms of, social media and all of that to have a broader reach to get those people to see you and to know who you are sooner is also like a big piece of that puzzle.
Like I said earlier, that's your hot market. Like whether it's an investor or a customer or a client, like it's your hot market. It's your people that you already know. Like when I have my cocktail night, it's going to be my friends first. Like I know it'll be my friends first. And then, they'll invite somebody else. And then, you never know. As a reminder, Amazon was a bookstore.
Yeah.
Amazon was strictly a bookstore. And then it became what we know Amazon to be today. Like, but that's what it was. It was a bookstore. That's what it started as. To use a dating app example, Hinge was like originally supposed to be some like geolocating dating app. Like it was really just supposed to be about like who was near you and like who's around, like who's in your close circle, basically. And then they made like these prompts and they were like needed to completely pivot and just like go towards these prompts. And that's what, started to make it successful. And there's so many stories of shows, of products, of apps, of companies that like they were this, they started as this, and then they shifted or they pivoted and they became something else because, they started to sell more of this than that, or they, people were more interested in this part of the business than they were in that part of the business. Like, it's part of the game. It's part of, you think you know what people want, but until the people actually tell you and the people actually start responding to what you're doing, you don't actually know.
Yeah.
Accurate.
Amanda.
Accurate. Yeah.
So we've all had to put ourselves out there. Like, we've all done that, which is why part of the reason why we're doing this podcast, because we are all in budding businesses, businesses that are off the ground or just getting off the ground, a couple years in. How did it feel when you first started to really put yourself out there?
Oh, I hate it. I'm so honestly, I love the performance aspect of my career and being on stage and being a character, so to speak. But to put myself out as Amanda, and this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm creating, it's so uncomfortable. It's such an uncomfortable space for me that I've had to kind of just grit my teeth and bear it and just do it. But still, those little voices of, do people actually want this? Or people actually, but it's me. Why do people want to learn from me or take my classes, or what do I have to offer? If I'm advocating for someone else and I'm promoting someone else's business, it's so much easier. So, because there's a step away, I'm removed heart, soul, spirit, blood, all of that. When it's yourself, it sucks.
I am right there with you. It's so funny. My friends, when I told them a few years ago that I was doing social media management and content management, they were like, "What are you talking about? You're terrible at social media. You're awful at it. You're you're an old man about it. You're terrible." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. When it comes to myself, I'm awful. When it comes to everybody else, I'm great. I'm happy to promote everybody else."
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a tolerance built to it. The first time I wrote a blog and actually sent it to my very meager email list at the time, I think I wanted to throw up a little. Because I was like, why would anybody read a blog about beginner aerial? I was like, oh, what the F am I even doing? And then now I'm spitting out content, and I still feel a little bit of that, but it's very dulled now. What do you guys think?
I mean, there is that sense of that phrase of you have to build thick skin, which is kind of, it kind of holds weight. I mean, but you're still, I know for me specifically, if I post something on social media and I don't get a crazy big response that I would really love to have, I'm like, ooh, okay, what about this? What did I do wrong? And I nitpick, fully. And then, but the more you do it, I do say the less the bite kind of goes away. The more that you just do it and you just kind of put it out there and you just kind of leave it alone and then keep going and keep going and keep going. It does get a little bit of, okay, well, the right people will show up. I'm not for everyone, but I am for someone, and that person, if they see it, that's all I care about. So I've adapted that kind of mentality, and that's made it easier.
I love that I'm not for everybody, but as long as the right person finds it, I'm happy. I really relate to that. And you have to, if you want people to show up to the party, you have to tell people about the party. And not everybody's going to show up. Not everybody's going to, respond to your Evite, or not everybody's going to RSVP. Some people will say they're showing up and they won't. And but if you don't tell anybody about the party, nobody's going to show up. Definitely nobody will come. And so you have to tell as many people. You have to say it as much as you can, and eventually, the right people start to hear about the party, and and somebody who really wants to go will then tell somebody else who they know really wants to go, and it's that trickle effect. And yeah, I mean, I definitely still have moments of like, oh shit, it's hard to, oh God, I gotta walk up to this person. I gotta do this. I gotta say this. I gotta whatever it is. And it's hard. Like, it is hard. My parents always talk about that I'm a Gemini. And like, I'm not a big astrology person, but like every once in a while I have my moments where I'm like, there's like the Noah who wants to like never talk to anybody and be like a hermit and live in the mountains. And then there's the Noah who can talk to everybody. And whenever I'm feeling like, oh, I gotta pitch, I gotta be personal, I just like, okay, it's time to switch into that version of myself. And that's what we're gonna do today.
Are you actually a Gemini? Hold on.
I am actually a Gemini.
When's your birthday? I love that.
June 12th.
Okay. I love it. Okay, sorry, segue.
I feel like we have just ended up we're making like really high-end drinks and trying to go to a party. That's the end of the podcast. Like, that's where we ended up.
That's the takeaway. That's the takeaway.
Yeah. We're throwing a party, and we want to invite everybody to it.
Everyone.
We want to make sure but we are going to invite everybody to it, but we know that not everybody will show up.
Yeah.
But to make sure that the people who really want to show up can.
Yeah.
Finding that perfect,
that's the takeaway.
Finding your perfect audience is the name of the TED Talk. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can find Amanda Ritchie at Grounded in Flight on Instagram, and at Noah Dach on Instagram, as well as a Red Flags app. And me, Kerry Wee, you can find at wrapyourheadaroundsilks.com. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We have so much more coming at you, including guests that are in this art world, that are blazing their way through new businesses, and just more banter from us. Thank you for listening. This is The Artist Entrepreneur.